Good afternoon, I'm Mike Naso with the latest on the tropics. Hurricane season 2025 has been very slow, abnormally slow for the peak of the season. We've only had 7 tropical storms, and only one of those, Erin, had been a hurricane or a major hurricane, a Category 3 and above. Erin was, of course, a Category 5 that remained out at sea. However, we now have our second hurricane and our second major hurricane in the form of Hurricane Gabrielle. Look at that thing there. Now, as I put this into motion over the last 3 days, watch how Gabrielle has blossomed from a weak tropical storm into a dangerous Category 4 hurricane. Just beautiful, sitting right there east of Bermuda. Here's the latest on Hurricane Gabrielle. It is 5 p.m. Atlantic time. Gabrielle was at 31.7 north, 61.8 west, winds of 140 miles per hour, which makes it a very dangerous Category 4 hurricane, moving north-northeast at 12. We won't have to deal with it. It's going to get captured by the mid-latitudes and push on out. However, if you are in the Azores over here, be careful, because by Thursday night, early Friday, Gabrielle could be very near your location, and it could still be a hurricane on Thursday as it pushes off into areas there of cooler waters. There's the visible satellite, a beautiful true color image, the eye of Gabrielle moving here towards the northeast, and the island of Bermuda here just on off towards its west. Very, very ominous, but thankfully moving in a completely different direction. Had this thing been a little bit further towards the south and west, you could have really had a serious lashing or a direct hit from this powerful Category 4 hurricane. Nevertheless, we're still dealing with a rip current risk all along the eastern seaboard, from Florida all the way up towards Long Island. High rip currents. Again, if you get caught in them, swim up or down the beach. Don't go against it into the surf, because that is very, very dangerous and you could get swept out. So as Gabrielle moves out, hopefully the swells will die down, but the key message is swells generated by Hurricane Gabrielle will continue to affect Bermuda, the east coast of the United States, as well as Atlantic Canada during the next couple of days. And secondly, as I mentioned in the Azores, Gabrielle is forecast to approach the Azores by late Thursday, and interest there should monitor the progress, as it is too soon to specify the magnitude of the wind, rain, and wave impacts. Now, there's another image of Hurricane Gabrielle. Note the beautiful eye there showing up. This is an upper-level water vapor imagery, but you can also see from this that there's virtually no way that the hurricane gets near the eastern seaboard. There's just too much weakening of the ridge. It's rounding the periphery, and it's going to slide into the mid-latitudes there. And you could even see here some sign of flattening on the western side, which is a sign that the hurricane is probably nearing its peak intensity. Thank goodness, 140 miles per hour. This is a very strange hurricane season. We get very few storms, almost all of them weak, but when we do get a hurricane, it's a very dangerous Category 4 or 5, and it seems to be in this general location, because Hurricane Erin was in that area just to the east of the Bahamas. Now, we have another tropical wave we're watching here, one close to the islands and one further out. The one further out has the higher chance of development from the hurricane center as it pulls west-northwest. And then the second one could get kind of close towards the Bahamas and the East Coast. So we're going to watch both of these. Now, these are the European ensembles. And if you watch, it shows Gabrielle leaving, and then 2 systems. The first one that the Hurricane Center said is the highest becomes another strong major hurricane. But this second one here gets kind of close towards the eastern seaboard. So again, we have Gabrielle, and then we have a second system and a third. And then we're going to start to watch this area down here in the Caribbean and Gulf, because as we get later in the year, that's the area we look to for potential development, although the European shows another system leaving Africa sometime around October 1st. So it's still possible to get a straggler or two off the coast of Africa. Now, this is the GFS model. This is as of 12Z. Now, here's Hurricane Gabrielle to the east of Bermuda, and it's moving on out. Here's our 2 waves. Now, one of them really starts to develop and blossom, and watch what happens to it here. It develops into a hurricane and makes a strike on North Carolina sometime around Monday the 29th. So, not that far in the future. And then notice that it leaves this tropical wave down here in the Caribbean, and then another wave here east of the islands. And if we watch what happens with those systems begin to develop. And then what we wind up with are two more hurricanes, one out here in the Atlantic by the first week of October, and one much more serious in the Caribbean. Now, the one in the Atlantic turns on out, threatens Bermuda, but the other one does become a major, major hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, that would be October 8th or so, so we're going to watch that. There's nothing there yet, but it is something to keep an eye on. Eastern Pacific's quiet except for one storm off Mexico. That's Narda. Tropical storm Narda should become a hurricane but remain out at sea. I'm Mike Nasa with the latest on the tropics. Continue to watch powerful Gabrielle, and we'll keep an eye on the waves in the Atlantic.